J'onn J'onzz is a name that hits you like a lightning bolt whenever you hear it uttered in a DC comic, TV show, or movie. He's such a colossal fan favorite that he was seemingly theorized into the Snyder Cut. See, you guys, fan theories have power. Case in point, it was a fan who asked Snyder if Calvin Swanwick was actually Martian Manhunter pulling strings in disguise. Seeing him as Martha Kent in the new Snyder Cut was telling. Now that we know Lieutenant General Swanwick is J'onn in disguise, it changes everything. Then we saw him come down to Bruce Wayne's home and tell him the worst was yet to come. How wild is it to see him finally make his big screen debut? I know some fans saw him and didn't seem to get his addition to the movie. Let me tell you this much, Martian Manhunter will be a crucial part of the Justice League. If anything is going to happen when it comes to a sequel, they need to make this character work. Here, let me put it another way. Suppose we keep demanding more J'onn J'onzz content. In that case, Warner Brothers will be forced to greenlight Snyder Cut 2 Electric Boogaloo, or whatever bad sequel joke you want to put there. After all, Martian Manhunter is a critical figure in the Darkseid saga. The chance to build out one of the most iconic DC storylines will happen, so it's better to know the new face of the Justice League now. No, seriously, this is not a joke. When J'onn mentioned the anti-life equation to Bruce in the epilogue, I knew it was about to go down, baby. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we start with the basics? This green crime fighter from outer space was created by writer Joseph Samachson? Man, I'm just bad at pronunciation. That's just the long and short of it. And designed by Joe Certa. His debut came in Detective Comics issue number 225, called The Manhunter from Mars. That was over 60 years ago, and many iterations of J'onn J'onzz have come and gone since then. So, how often do we sift through the years of story development to find the one true summary of this icon? I think it's best to start with his powers. On the superhero power scale of OP to billionaire, Manhunter has always rested incredibly close to the OP side of the spectrum. He can fly, go invisible, phase through solid matter, shapeshift, read minds, control people, and knock Shazam out of his boots. The guy is a min-maxed Dungeons & Dragons character from space. To give you a better idea, in the New 52, when Amanda Waller creates her own official Justice League to work under the government, it's J'onn who stands in for Superman. In fact, he's seen as his equal by many. The only difference is Clark Kent is allowed to be comfortable in public in his own skin, even when people know he's an alien. Life wasn't always that easy for our man from Mars. In his original comic book origin, Manhunter is stranded on Earth by a scientist experimenting with alien technology. Hold on, this part is so 1950s comics that I need to mention it. He's stuck on Earth because the guy who teleported him there by accident has a heart attack at the sight of him. Yeah, that's strange enough to work, believe it or not. However, in more recent versions, such as the animated Justice League series, J'onn is the last Martian after an invading species wipes out life on his home planet. The threat shifts with every iteration, but the theme of isolation always hangs around. If you're looking to read up on this peacemaker slash detective slash army general, I do have a few recommendations. The Griffin and Dematis? These guys' run on Justice League made Martian Manhunter a focal point and created his love for Oreos. Next to fire, these cookies are his biggest weakness. John Ostrander was given a chance to explore the character in a larger arc focused on J'onn exclusively. Then there's Grant Morrison and his writing on Justice League of America that every comic book fan should read at one point in their life. Now, I know some of you aren't readers, and a lot of that content is out of date. Let's talk about what he's been up to more recently. I'll give the Snyder Cut credit, it nailed his look without letting that effect happen where the CGI sort of dominates the moment. You know what I mean, right? The first version of Thanos is a good example. Anyway, this is the first genuine attempt at creating the character in a large-scale format. I'm not including the animated series, but he's a much easier character to draw than render in live-action sequences. Should you have hope that all the incredible things you learned about this character will make it into a movie someday soon? Sure, but recent trends worry me. The animated Justice League gave space to J'onn J'onzz and his story. Many of you watching this right now are probably most familiar with this version of the character. There are live-action television versions of Martian Manhunter though, and they have me worried. For instance, the small spot he held in Smallville toward the end of the series was less than inspired, but Supergirl on CW is trying to fix that mistake. Their conception of J'onn J'onzz is respectful, but I'd argue he stays on the sidelines far too often. This guy is a founding member of the Justice League and one of the strongest heroes at DC Comics. He's not a side story. I didn't want to bring this up, but the visual effects they use for him are also, they're not great. I get that it's a lower budget than a film studio can provide, but the people behind this look need to embrace the original and not be afraid of adding some color. His history in the comics is marked by constant promotions and demotions over the years. The fact that they let Cyborg replace him in the Justice League stings, but I firmly believe there's a chance for this Martian to take center stage. I know Zack Snyder didn't plan on him being in the Justice League movie at first, or at least that's the rumor, but fans love the direction it seems to be headed. Go check out more stuff with Martian Manhunter in it, like the comics I mentioned and the animated Justice League. You'll see exactly why he needs the spotlight if there are going to be future Justice League films in the DCEU. I know, I'm starting to sound a bit like a comic book guy, but that's only because I'm so hyped over the idea of J'onn J'onzz making it to the big screen. I'll tell you what, if he doesn't make it into a DC movie in the next 10 years, I'll make a video explaining why that's a mistake. It's the only way we'll get through to them. Come on!